My name is Zihao, 22 years old, an ordinary worker living in an old rental house on the outskirts of the city. He goes to and from get off work every day, and can see the life he can see at a glance. Until 3 months ago, the world changed, the spirit resurrected. What a thing! To put it bluntly, a bunch of things in the novels of immortals suddenly fell from the sky. What spirit? The path of immortality is vast, and the cultivation technique of immortality has all come true. There are people's arguments on the street, saying that whoever got a broken secret book, and after practicing it for a few days, they could fly over the eaves and walls. Some people were covered by mysterious light columns and disappeared directly, saying that they had entered a blessing in the world. Where is me? I didn't care about anything. Just like 996, I brushed short videos after getting off work, and looked at those videos of big masters of immortal cultivation showing off their skills, which made me feel sore. But today, my destiny finally turned on his mother. This matter has to be said from the afternoon. I worked overtime until dark and dragged my tired body to the rental house. When I passed by a wasteland in the suburbs of the city, my head suddenly became empty and the whole person fell down. I thought to myself, it's over. I fell into the pit, and I didn't want to break my legs. As a result, after falling for a long time, it turned out to be soft under my butt. I looked down and saw what it was. There are a pile of dead leaves, and there is actually a hidden hole underneath it. I got up, rubbed my butt, looked around and found that this place was not simple. The cave was pitch black, but the wall was filled with strange runes, and there was still an indescribable smell in the air, which made people feel refreshed. My heart was beating fast, and my brain was full of online sayings. Could this be an ancient cave, right? I took out my phone and shone the flashlight. The hole was deep and the runes on the wall were shining, as if they were alive. I swallowed and said to myself, why don't you go back and call someone? But when I think about it, who discovered that good things were not hidden first? As soon as I was beaten by someone else, I cried without even being able to cry. Gripping my teeth, I still decided to vent myself. After walking for a few steps, a golden light suddenly lit up in the hole, which scared me, almost sat on the ground. Golden light emerged from the wall and hugged my brain. I didn't even have time to hide, so I felt my brain crazy sound, as if I was stuffed into a bunch of things. Then, an old voice echoed in my brain, I am Master Tianxian, and I will leave this to inherit from later generations. After entering the cave, I will follow my path and change my destiny. What? Inheritance? I was stunned for 2 seconds and was immediately ecstatic. Isn't this the magical cultivation machine mentioned online? I sat down tightly with my legs, pressed the memory that suddenly appeared in my brain and moved my skills. The spirit rushed into my body like a flood. I felt like I was burning, and my bones were all sensation. In just a few minutes, I felt like I had lost my fetus and changed my bones. With one blow, a piece of stone in front of me fried it into powder. Bogan, is this the cultivation of immortality? I looked at my hands and almost screamed with excitement. The martial arts in the brain are called Tianxian Thunder skills. They are awesome when you hear them. There's also a matching battle technique, Thunder Palm. With one palm, you can split mountains and crack stones. I was fantasizing about being the dominant path in the future when I suddenly heard a sound of footsteps and several men's whispers from the entrance of the cave. Young master, that golden light must have been born just now, so we have to go in, said in a thick voice. When I say, the spirit has only been 3 months since I was revived. Whoever is this kind of machine is the protagonist of the next era. They all cheer me up, don't let anyone take the lead. Another voice sneered, and it sounded so irritating. My heart sank and became corrupt. If this kind of helping others is not good, it is probably from a family of immoral cultivation. After the spirit was restored, these old families had already started to form teams to plunder the enemy, and ordinary people were not opponents at all. Although I have inherited it now, I have just come to cultivate immortality and confronted me to estimate it. I quietly collapsed behind a large stone in the hole, held my breath, and heard my steps getting closer and closer. Soon, 5 or 6 people left, headed by a young man in a long black robe. He looked pretty handsome, but his eyes were as cold as a poisonous snake, and he was holding a long sword in his hand with a cold light. He glanced into his eye hole and said with a brow, "The spirit here is so full that it is hidden. The treasures must be there, so I will search for them. Young master, there are footprints on the ground, and someone has just come in." A subordinate pointed at the marks that I just left behind and shouted. That year, the light man snorted coldly, "Humph, I dare to kill my long-term ambitions and live impatiently. No matter who it is, find a solution on the spot." Aspirations? I feel excited when I hear this name. What a thing, it's so cool. I felt a slight in my heart, and I couldn't hide anyway, so I just stood up and saw the situation. I walked out from behind the stone and put on a confused look. "A few big brothers, where is this place? I just fell in and didn't see anything." Zihao glanced at me and sneered at the corner of his mouth, "Come in? You dress like a ghost, how dare you come to such a place to leak?" My heart skipped a beat, but my face was still silly. "Golden light? What golden light? I don't know anything, so I just want to climb out." "Stop talking." Zihao left a big Han, raised his hand and grabbed my shoulder. The force was quite strong, and he probably wanted to press me down directly. I could react instinctively. The thunder palm in my brain moved up. I raised my right hand and the thunder in my palm flashed with a bang. The big Han was directly slapped on the wall of the cave, and I spit out blood, and I couldn't even move. The whole scene was dead silent. Zihao's pupils shrank, staring at me, with a few surprises in his voice. "What tricks did you just use?" I was a little confused. I didn't expect that the thunder palm was so powerful, but I couldn't bear it at this time. I sneered, "What's wrong? Have you ever seen a cultivator? If you stop, you will be the one who slapped the next palm." Ziyuan's face was green, and his subordinates also pulled out their weapons and surrounded me in the middle. He gritted his teeth and said, "Good boy, he hid deeply. He dared to attack someone who is far-sighted. Don't want to go out alive today. Come on, and wipe him out." Several subordinates came up, and the sword light and shadow directly hugged my face. My heart was tight, but the instinct of the martial arts in the brain moved, and my body seemed to be wrapped in lightning, and my speed was too fast. Several flashes avoided the attack, and they slapped out with their backhands. The lightning exploded, and the two guys fell to the ground on the ground, and the remaining few retreated in surprise. "Waste!" Ziyuan shouted angrily and pulled the sword up. The sword light was like a rainbow, carrying a sense of urgency. I felt the pressure, but I was not panicked. The legend of the sky was full of strength, and the power of thunder condensed in my palm. I yelled, "Come on!" A palm was slapped, and the thunder and the snare collided. There was a huge slide sound in the cave. Ai Chang was shocked several steps away, and his face was hard to see. "Who are you?" He gritted his teeth and asked. Obviously he didn't expect me to take him. I grinned and said, "My name is Zihao. Remember it. I will hear this name in the future and walk on the road." After saying that, I took advantage of the blank space where he was stunned and the spirit burst out under my feet, and the whole person rushed towards the entrance of the cave. Jiu responded and shouted, "Chasing! Don't let him run away." I didn't look back, and after I rushed out of the cave, I took advantage of the night to plunge into the trees next to the wasteland. They are crowded, so it's not a good deal for me to fight hard now, so I'll run first. Behind him, Shichio roared anxiously, "Zihao, I remember you. No matter where you run, I will pull you out and take away your machine." I ran for half an hour and decided to throw them away before I gasped on a tree. My brain is full of just known pictures, so I feel so happy. Just so few palms, it was as if I was a dream. I, an ordinary person, could beat people from the immortal cultivation family to find teeth. But I also know that this ambition is not a good deal. Today I am just a little bitch, and I will definitely meet it in the future. I lowered my head and looked at my palms. The lightning was still pounding at my fingertips, and a stream of hot blood ignited in my heart. Spiritual revival, and the world is coming. Who doesn't want to stand at the top? Since God gave me this trick, I have to catch it. No matter whether he is a noble family or a big boss, I will beat one and two of them. Under the moonlight in the sky, I clenched my fists, and there was only one thought in my brain: I haven't fully understood the secret of this cave yet, and there must be a bigger machine waiting for me. Ziyuan, you'd better not mess with me again, otherwise, next time I'll be more than just shooting you. I took a deep breath and walked towards the rental house. The night wind blows, the trees and forests rustle, and there are a few sounds of low growlings from afar, like some wild beast, or like a strange phenomenon after the resurrection of spirit. I felt a little more complicated than what I saw in my heart. When I returned to the rental house, it was already dawning. I lay on the hard bed, and the picture in my brain was still in the cave last night: the power of the thunder palm, the blue face of the Ziyuan, and the movement door of the legend of the Heavenly Thunder in my brain, turning around and turning it over and over and unable to sleep. There was a voice in my heart that kept calling: there must be more secrets in the cave, and if it is wrong, it will never be found again. I gritted my teeth, got up from the bed, washed my face briefly, and decided not to go to the company today, and went straight to the cave to find out what happened. However, I am alone and have a weak force. I have to eat when I meet Ziyuan, who helps others again and again. Thinking of this, a person suddenly appeared in my brain: Cayenne. Cayenne is my childhood sweetheart. I grew up together and live in the next small area. Her brain is particularly spiritual. After hearing that her spirit has recovered, she has inexplicably become sensitive to the strange runes and techniques. Some people on the internet also say that she may be a descendant of the mysterious blood. Although I don't believe in these things, she has indeed helped many people crack the ban in the past. I didn't tell her what I had inherited last night, but now it seems that pulling her into the group is the most secure choice. I sent Cayenne a WeChat message: "Are you there? If you have something big, come to my house." Within 2 minutes, she replied: "What big thing? Wouldn't you let me move again? It's 5 minutes." Sure enough, 5 minutes later, the door came and knocked on the door. As soon as I opened the door, I picked a jean and a white t-shirt. My hair was casually slim and a teasing smile on my face. "Tell me, why are you troubled? Look at you with dark circles, didn't you sleep last night?" I didn't talk to her, but pulled her into the house, closed her door, and said in a low voice: "Last night, I discovered a large aircraft, which may be an ancient cave, and it still has inherited and has been cultivated as violent. But there is still a secret inside that has not been dug out. I want to go back and vent, and you can help me with it. How about it?" After Cayenne finished listening, his eyes almost glared out, and after a while he reacted. He lowered his voice: "Are you serious? Cave? Chen? Zihao, you weren't dreaming last night, right?" I rolled my eyes, raised my hand, and the lightning in my palm was flashing, and the air was sizzling in my ear. She took a step back in surprise and her mouth turned O-shaped. "Bog, are you really practicing immortality? What trick is this? Thunder Palm, isn't it awesome?" I grinned. "Don't miss it. Will it help? There may be a ban on military law. I can't handle it alone. Aren't you talented in this regard? We are in the hands of our company, and we may be able to dig out bigger treasures." Cayenne's eyes lit up, and his head was as scattered as garlic. "Help! It must be helpful. If you don't call me this, are you still a human being? But if you say it, if you find something good, we will score. I won't be useless." "Okay, the deal is done." I clapped my hands, packed up some dry rice and water, took the flashlight I used last night, and went straight to the wasteland of the city with Kaiji. When we arrived at the entrance of the cave, it was still early and there was no one around. I pointed to the hidden hole and said in a low voice, "That's it. I fell in last night and got the inheritance, but I also got into trouble. There was a guy named Ziyuan, the young master of the immortal cultivation family, who brought people to get rid of the trouble, and I rushed away. Today, let's be careful, don't fight hard when you meet them." I picked the head and took out a small notebook with various rune patterns on it, saying, "Don't worry, I brought a self-made shattering. Although it is not guaranteed to be 100 effective, it can help me. Let's go in and take a look." The hole was still the same as last night, The runes on the wall were illuminated, and the air was filled with energy like a fog. Cayenne came in and looked at the eyebrows. This place is not simple. These runes are traces of ancient crafts. Ordinary people will be crushed to death if they walk less than 10 meters in. If you can come in, it is probably to be the one who inherits the Lord and protects you. I was surprised. I really didn't feel any pressure last night. It was indeed a merit inherited. We walked in the cave, getting deeper and deeper. The air became colder and colder, and the runes on the wall became more and more complicated. After walking for about half an hour, a stone door suddenly appeared in front of him, with a giant dragon pattern engraved on it, and 2 red gems embedded in the dragon's eyes, emitting a strange light. Cayenne stopped walking and said with a brow, "This is a ban on the air. The dragon's eyes should be a mechanism. If you encounter an error, you may touch a trap. Don't be upset, I will study it first." She squatted down, took out a small notebook and compared the runes, muttering words in her mouth, and painting her fingers in the air, as if she was simulating something. I stood beside me, so tight that I always felt that this place would collapse at any time. After more than 10 minutes, Cayenne finally raised his head and wiped his sweat. "It's done, this is the Dragon Injo Yuan. The cracking method is to touch the 9 rune points on Wang's body in a specific order, neither more nor less. I'll do it, you help me look around, don't let anything suddenly pop up." I clicked my head, clenched my fists, and I was stunned by the thunder in my palms, and prepared for sudden situations at any time. Cayenne took a deep breath and began to click the runes on the stone door in sequence. Every time he clicked, the stone door would shake, making a low buzzing sound, as if a dragon was roaring. When the last rune arrived, the dragon's eyes suddenly lit up, and I felt nervous and shouted, "Be careful." As the voice fell, the walls on both sides of the stone gate suddenly cracked, and more than 10 cold lights shot out, rushing straight to the point of swelling. I reacted very quickly, and when I stepped down, my body rushed over like thunder, and filmed with both hands. Thunder palm exploded with all my strength. The lightning shattered the cold light and turned into a pile of gravel and fell to the ground. Cayenne was so scared that his face turned pale and patted his chest. "Your trough is almost dead. Zihao, your reaction speed is amazing. Don't waste your time, finish it soon," I said with gritted my teeth, and I felt a secretly happy in my heart. Fortunately, I had improved my cultivation, otherwise no one would have been able to hold on for this wave. After clicking the last rune, the stone gate rung sounded open, and a deep passage was revealed, and there was almost a golden light flash at the end of the passage. When we looked at each other, a fire ignited in our hearts. It was definitely a big shot. Walking through the passage, as if it was a huge stone chamber, there was an ancient stone platform in the center, and there was an ancient book with golden light on it, and there were several large characters written on the skin, "The Secret Book of Ancient Heavenly Mysterious." My brain sounded buzzing. The name is related to my Tianqian Thunder as soon as I heard it. It may be a higher-level martial art. Cayenne was also very excited and said in a low voice, "This is definitely a top-level inheritance. Zihao, I'm so nervous. We have to hurry up so that no one will catch up." I clicked my head and just wanted to reach out when I heard it. I suddenly heard it and sneered, "Haha, it's you, Zihao, I ran very fast last night. I dared to come back today. It's really a dead end." My heart sank and turned suddenly. Sure enough, I saw that Ziyuan stood at the entrance of the passage with 7 or 8 subordinates, killing the trench. Ziyuan was wearing a black robe, with a cold light in his hand, and a cold smile was pulled at the corner of his mouth. "I let you run away last night. Today I set up a trap and track it down the entrance of the cave. As soon as you come in, I will receive the message. I will make up the treasures in this stone chamber, as well as your inheritance." Cayenne said in a low voice, "This Shuezi is really damn, Zihao, what should I do? My brain is moving at a rapid speed, with a lot of ambitions, and it is not cost-effective to fight hard, but I can never let this secret book." Suddenly, I noticed several broken rune stones in the corner of the stone chamber, like a broken magic. When the spirit machine moved, he said to Cayenne in a low voice, "Hold them for a few seconds, I have a way." Kaling pointed his head. Lima took out several self-made shattering talismans from his pocket, threw them at Jiqian and others, and shouted in his mouth, "If you want to snatch something, ask your aunt if you answer first." The talismans exploded in the air and turned into light curtains. Although they were not powerful, they barely held them for a few seconds. I took the opportunity to rush to the corner of the stone chamber, and moved my spirits and tried to activate the broken runes. Sure enough, as soon as the spirit was injected, the rune lit up and the ground began to vibrate, as if it was touching some anti-warming switch. Ziyuan's face changed and he shouted, "Stop him and stop letting him do something." But it's too late. The runes were bright, and countless arrows of light suddenly shot out from the four walls of the stone chamber, flying towards Jiqi and others intensely. They hurriedly resisted, and several of their subordinates were shot through on the spot and fell to the ground with a cry. Ziyuan swept the sword and his face was blue and roared, "Zihao, how dare you fool me?" I sneered, and took advantage of the trouble to reach the stone platform and grabbed the ancient heavenly mysterious book. A huge message was stormed in my brain. It suddenly burst into pieces, and the spirit inside my body was surging. The power of thunder was more than twice as strong as last night. I turned around, and the lightning light condensed in my palm, and slapped Ziyuan with a palm. "What's wrong with playing tricks on you? Come and get it if you have the ability." Road. The thunder palm was as strong as a flood. Zihao reluctantly held it with the sword, but the whole person was shaken back several meters, and a silk of blood overflowed from the corner of his mouth. The men behind him were even more aware. Several were directly swept by lightning. When the scene passed, the remaining two were so scared that they didn't dare to step forward. Ziyuan gritted his teeth and cut his eyes filled with resentment. "Okay, very good. Zihao, I remember you. I don't have enough people today, so I will retreat first, but I will settle for you sooner or later. Let's go." After saying that, he ran away with the remaining people and wolves, and even the injured people on the ground didn't care. Cayenne ran over, patted my shoulder, and grinned, "Awesome, Zihao, I just had that palm, don't burst. What's the secret book? Is it worth it?" I lowered my head and rummaged through the information in the sea of brains, and my hands were trembling with excitement. "Value. It's so worth it. This secret book not only has higher level skills, but also Master Qianshuan's cultivation experience. It says that as long as I reach great success, I can lead to the Heavenly Tribulation Thunder trial. After passing it, I can ask the Dingli Peak and open a new era of immortal cultivation." Cayenne's eyes lit up after hearing, "What are you waiting for? We have to practice our brains tightly. The guy Ziyuan will definitely not give up and may bring more people." I clicked my head and a struggle ignited in my heart. "Aki, today is just the beginning. You want to kill my things, and next time I don't have the chance to stand up." Kaiji and I looked at each other and decided to leave the stone chamber first and take the secret script back for a good study. The secret of this cave has not been dug yet, but my path is getting wider and wider. Walking out of the stone chamber, the spirit in the passage was still suffocating, and he growled from afar, as if something was ready to move deep. I clenched my fists and said to myself, no matter what was ahead, I, Zihao, would step over. In this world, I not only need to live, but also stand at the top so that everyone can remember my name. When I came out of the stone chamber, Saichi and I didn't dare to stay for too long. We took the ancient heavenly mysterious book and headed towards the entrance of the cave. The spirit in the passage is still as heavy as a fog, and it is always coming and growling, which makes people's skin numb. Kaijia was walking while flipping through her little notebook, muttering in her mouth, "The arrays in this place are too complicated. Just now the defense mechanism in the stone chamber almost took my life. If we go further in, there might be even more dangerous prohibitions. Zihao, the secret scripture is in hand, how about we withdraw first?" I nodded, I also think so. The techniques and insights in the secret scripture I haven't fully absorbed yet, although my cultivation has increased, but it's unstable. Forcing our way into the depths is not a wise choice. Let's go, first go back, and come to explore again in a few days. But as soon as the words were said, there was a sudden violent shaking under my feet. The entire passage seemed like it was about to collapse. The runes on the walls began to flash wildly, emitting a harsh buzzing sound. Kai Jia and I looked at each other, our faces changed. This commotion, it's probably triggered some big mechanism. Run fast! I shouted loudly, pulling Kai Jia and rushing towards the cave entrance. But after running a few steps, a stone wall suddenly descended in front of the passage, completely blocking the road, and at the same time, the ground behind cracked open. A strong suction came, as if to drag us both in. I gritted my teeth and operated my spiritual energy, wrapping my whole body with thunder power, barely standing steady against the suction, and when I turned my head to look, a faint blue light was emerging from the crack, vaguely seeing a huge altar-like thing. Kai Jia exclaimed, "This is the trial ground." Many ancient cave mansions have this setting. Only by passing the trial can one obtain the true core inheritance. I recorded similar cases in my notebook. Going in might be 9 deaths and 1 life, but if we don't go in, we can't get out. I gritted my teeth and got up, wiped off the blood from the corner of my mouth, and the thunder power condensed again. Okay, hurry up, I'll hold these guys. The puppet condensed again, with more than just now, so I could only rush up with my head, and the thunder-slitting sky and thunder palm wheels used it, and the thunder light burst sounded nowhere near my ears, and I could barely hold the puppet's attack. But these puppets seemed to be killed endlessly. They broke one and 2 more appeared. My spirit was consumed quickly, and there were several more wounds on my body, which made me so much pain that I sucked my air in the cold. Kai Yan was shaking his fingers around the fort, and he was chanting something in his mouth. Finally, after a few minutes, he shouted, "It's done. Zihao, the magic method has been broken, and the last hit of the crystal stone." When I heard this, it seemed like I had a chicken blood. My spirit exploded with all my strength, and my hands clasped, and the power of thunder condensed into a huge column of lightning, and rushed towards the crystal stone. Rumbling. The lightning column hit the crystal, and the protection barrier was shattered. The crystal made a sharp sound, and then it exploded and turned into a group of thunder's original power and directly penetrated into my body. I shook my body and felt like I was washed by thunder. My bones, my veins, and even my soul were shaking. My cultivation burst into an instant, and the power of thunder was more than 10 times stronger than before. In the brain, Master Qianshuan's voice echoed again, "The origin of thunder has entered the body, and my core inheritance will be as much as possible. I hope I will change my destiny against the sky and ask the tripod peak." I opened my eyes quietly, the thunder in my palm pounded, and with a swipe of my hand, the air was torn apart, and a hissing sound came out. The puppets disappeared after the crystals were broken, and the land where they tried to survive was restored to a level. I let out a breath, turned my head and looked at Kai Yan, and grinned. I've passed it. This power of the original thunder is so awesome. I feel that 1 palm can kill 10 I Qian. Kai Yan also relaxed his breath, wiped the sweat from the bottom of his head, and smiled. What are you bragging about? You were almost stabbed into a siege by a puppet. But this test is really worth it, and it will be a violent storm. Whoever dares to provoke us in the future will beat you up just now. As we were saying, the stone walls of the test site suddenly shook, and the passage from the distance opened again, as if indicating the exit to us. I was delighted and greeted Kai Yan. Let's go back and digest this power. The secret of the cave has not been dug up yet. We have to seize the time. But when I walked out of the test site, I didn't have time to catch my breath. There was a dense sound of footsteps suddenly coming from the entrance of the cave, and there were a few low sounds controversial. I felt nervous and said to Kai Yan in a low voice, "It's bad. Ziyuan is really back. There are still many people who hear it. Let's hide first and see what the situation is." When we pick the head, we shrink to behind a large stone head and hold our breath. In just a few minutes, a large group of people walked into the entrance of the cave, with a rough number of 20 or 30. They were wearing a uniform black robe and holding various magical instruments, and their spirit waves were strongly shining. The leader was the long-awaited man with a cold face. There were several older men standing next to him. He was more energetic than him and looked like people from other immortal families. One of the middle-aged men slapped a hole in his eyes and snorted coldly, "Ji Qian, what are you talking about? The spirit here is heavy, but there are too many restrictions. Our Li family is not willing to lose people in vain. If there is really an inheritance, we must give half of it first." Shi Chang sneered, "Long Lao Li, don't worry, inheritance is deep in this cave. I saw a boy named Zihao taking away a secret book and practicing it as violent as possible. Even I am not a match. As long as you catch him and force the inheritance out, we will share equally with several families, and we will never deviate." Another tall and thin old man squinted his eyes and said in a verbal voice, "Oh? How capable can a hairy boy have? Ambition, you won't be able to beat him, so use us as guns, right?" Ziyuan's face froze, but he still insisted. Zhang Chan laughed. "That boy really has some means, but we have a few partners, and he can't escape. The cave ban has been exposed and the exit is blocked. They must be there, search." When I heard this, my heart sank. These guys are so cruel. Not only did they come back, but they also attracted several aristocratic families to join forces. This battle is more than 10 times bigger than before. Cayenne said in a short voice, "Zihao, what should I do? There are too many people, so we fight hard." I gritted my teeth and turned rapidly. Although the power of the thunderous origin was strong, there were many people on the other side, and there were still several veterans who were deeply indeterminate and were definitely seeking death if they forced themselves. But hiding is not a solution. The exit of this cave was blocked and they had long been searched for it. I said in a low voice, "Drag the time first and find a chance to break through." I just cultivated the brute force, and it just happened to try new power. It's not possible. You use the broken talisman to open the way, and I'll stop it. Take a slight head and take out a few talisman papers to prepare. At this time, Jifu and others had already scattered and started a carpet-style search, and their paces were getting closer and closer. Finally, a subordinate found traces behind the stone and shouted, "Young master, there are footprints here, someone is hiding them. Go up." Shi Chang sneered and quickly surrounded the people. I knew I couldn't hide, so I just stood up. The thunder power swept through my body, looking at them coldly. "Ziyuan, it's you again, why? I was beaten up yesterday, and I still want to come back?" Ziyuan saw me, his eyes were full of fire, and he gritted his teeth and said, "Zihao, it's you. Today I want to see where you can go. Hand over the inheritance, you won't die." "Thank you." I spat, and the power of the original thunder exploded in an instant. With both hands, the thunder cracked the sky and swept out like a violent wind. The lightning-light thunder was directly thrusting away from them. With the sound of, several subordinates in the front row were directly chopped and fell to the ground with a cry of fear, without even the chance to react. The whole scene was shocked, and the faces of the eldest sons of the aristocratic families changed. Mr. Li was shocked. Why did this kid's cultivation so much? That just happened to be the power of the late stage of the foundation. Ziyuan was also stunned for a moment, but immediately sneered, "No matter how strong a person is, he is just a furious boy. Let's go on together and waste him to death. Take action." After the words, 20 or 30 people took action at the same time, and the spirit came like a flood. The light of the magic weapon was flashing. Several elders even used powerful techniques, and the fire dragon, ice blade, and wind blade came in a scattered manner. My heart was tight, but I was not panicked. The power of the thunder was moving with all my might, my body was moving like thunder, avoiding most of the attacks. At the same time, I shot with my hands together, and the lightning columns came out, shattering several techniques. But there were too many people on the other side. After a few attacks, I was still hit by a few strokes. My shoulders and back were so painful that my spirit was consumed very quickly. Kai Ji threw out the shattered talisman beside him, and reluctantly held up some of the attacks, shouting, "Zihao, if you can't hold on, please withdraw, don't fight hard." But I gritted my teeth and didn't retreat, and a fire in my heart was burning. These guys thought that if there were too many people, I could kill me. Today I will let you see what an absolute counterattack is. I yelled and recalled the strongest move in the secret book in the brain, Thunderworld Shock. This is the ultimate explosion of the original power of thunder. It can turn the spirit of the whole body into a blow, and its power is terrifying enough to destroy mountains and rivers. I sealed my hands, and the power of thunder in my body gathered wildly. The lightning and electricity around me were circling, and the air was distorted. I was far away from them and my face finally showed fear. This kid must fight hard and hold him. Zhang Chang yelled, and several old soldiers used a huge light curtain to try to hold my attack. But I sneered, all my spirits burst out, and the thunder came into being like thunder in the world, turning into a 100-meter-long giant pillar of lightning, directly pushing them away. Rumbling. The light curtain shattered in an instant, and the giant light pillar swept over, and the ground was torn into a deep slash. More than 10 men in the front row were injured on the spot and flew out in a cry. Several old men were also furious and vomited blood and retreated. Ziyuan was even more shocked and hit the stone wall for 10 meters. His face was pale and his eyes were filled with surprise. How could you have such power? I gasped, my body was almost exhausted, but I still sneered. I'm lucky, I said, it's not easy for me to get out of the scene. Today's blow is just for you to teach you. If you dare to come again, I will kill you. After saying that, I pulled Cayenne and took advantage of their shocked air to rush towards the depth of the passage. Ziyuan roared from behind, chasing. Don't let them run away. But they were beaten so badly that few people dared to catch up with him, so they could only watch as we disappeared into the passage. After running for more than 10 minutes, Saichi and I sat down against the stone wall, gasping for breath. Cayenne looked at me, his eyes full of admiration. Zihao, you just had that trick. You are not a human being. 20 or 30 immortal cultivators, you have to be defeated by you alone, and you are so powerful that you can reach the sky. I grinned, and my heart was so happy, but I was still calm. I mean, as soon as the power of the origin of thunder comes out, who will be unlucky? However, this helper will not be able to be willing to let go. We have to find a place to hide for a few days and then talk about it after cultivating it is stable. Take a look at the head, take out a small notebook and start studying the runes around the passage, and try to find a safe way. I closed my eyes and adjusted my brain, and my brain was full of just-in-one battle scenes. The power of the Thunder World War is far beyond my imagination. This ultimate counterattack not only defeated Jiqi and others, but also gave me a new understanding of my own power. At the depth of the passage, there was a low growl coming from the roar, as if the place where the test was not completely calm. I clenched my fists and said to myself, no matter what was ahead, I, Zihao, would have to pass. You'd better not come again, otherwise next time, I'll not just fight you back so easily. Relying on the stone wall of the passage, Saichi and I were panting heavily, and the wounds on our bodies were so painful. Although the wave of thunder was so cool, our spirit was almost exhausted. Now the whole person was as if he was ignorant. Cayenne flipped through her small notebook, but still had a point on his face and was afraid. Zihao, you were really crazy just now. 20 or 30 immortal cultivators were beaten by you alone to find teeth. But we were so nervous that we were looking for a place to hide. Ziyuan would definitely not give up when he helped, and he might even call more people. I clicked and stood up with great force. I felt that the power of the origin of thunder in my body was slowly recovering. The voice of Master Tianxian in my brain was rising from time to time, as if urging me to continue to go deep into the cave to explore the secrets. I said in a low voice, you can't hide. The exit of this cave has been sealed. They can't find us long ago. Instead of sitting and waiting, it's better to go deeper. The place where I tried to get through was not completely dug, and I always feel that something bigger is hidden inside. Cyan's eyebrows looked at the depth of the passage, and the low growls from the distance continued, which made people's skin numb. She hesitated for a moment, and still gritted her teeth and said, okay, I'll hear you. But you have to regain your spirit first. I'll draw a few more broken talismans. If I encounter any restrictions again and again, we have at least some trump cards. I rested on the spot for half an hour, and my legs were swept through Tianxian thunder skills. The power of the thunder slowly flowed in my body. Although the wound still hurt, my energy recovered by 30% or 40%. I could barely fight for another game. I picked up a few talismans, stuffed them into my pocket, clapped my hands, let's go, while the Ziyuan and the others haven't caught up, let's fight quickly. Walking deeper along the passage, the air became colder and colder, and the energy was so high that it was so dense that it felt like it was shaking. The runes on the wall became more and more complicated, and some even suddenly lit up, as if they were going to touch the machine at any time. Cayenne carefully observed the road, stopped to record it at any time, and muttered in his mouth, "These runes are not simple, like some ancient seal traces." The deepest part of the cave house contains the root of spiritual resurrection. The root of the spirit recovery? I was stunned, and suddenly flashed through the online sayings that spirit recovery was not a natural phenomenon, but was deliberately triggered by someone or a certain force. Is it hard to tell if this cave has anything to do with that truth? My heart beat faster and my pace didn't seem to be faster. After walking for about an hour, a huge blue copper door finally appeared at the entrance. The door was filled with patterns of thunder and dragon patterns, and there was a groove in the center, as if something was missing to open. The air around the door was distorted and the spirit was so heavy that it almost turned into liquid, which made people unable to breathe. I tried to move my energy, but I still felt my chest sank, and even the power of the original thunder was suppressed. Cayenne squatted down and carefully studied the runes on the door. His face became more and more serious. "Zihao, this door is the core entrance of the cave, and the final secret behind it should be. But this is not an ordinary prohibition, it is an ancient thunder seal. If it is forced to break, it will cause a countermeasure to destroy the sky and earth. What is missing in the groove may be a certain key or token, so we have to look for the rope." I clicked my head and looked around and found a row of small words engraved on the stone wall next to the green copper door. When I looked closer, I wrote, "The origin of thunder, the end of the test, the source of spirit, only the heavenly tribulation." My brain sounded buzzing, and these words were exactly the same as the test of thunder in heaven said by Master Tianxian. Is it hard to tell the truth behind this door? Cayenne also saw it and was amazed, the Heavenly Tribulation Thunder trial. It is reported online that only those who have passed this tribulation can truly control the root of the spirit and become the master of the new era. Zihao, the power of the original thunder you get may be the key to open the door, try it. My heart moved, and I closed my eyes to adjust the power of the original thunder in my body. The lightning light in my palm condensed and pressed slowly towards the groove. Sure enough, as soon as the lightning touched the groove, the entire blue copper door began to shake violently, and the thunder pattern on the door seemed to be alive, making a deep sound of thunder. Then, with a sound of rolling and the door opened slowly, a terrifying torrent of spirit surged out from it, almost overturning us. I gritted my teeth and stood firmly. After looking closely, I saw a huge underground palace behind the door. There was a thunder ball of lightning several meters floating in the center. There was an incredible lightning inside the ball that could see countless thunder and electric vehicles, like a slim world. The walls around the palace are filled with spiritual revival, clearly showing everything from ancient times to modern times. I walked closer to the wall and looked at the paintings carefully, my heart beating wildly. The picture says that the resurrection of spirit is not accidental, but a plan left by the ancient powerful master Tianxian. He predicted thousands of years ago that the world would fall into decay, so he sealed his original power and turned into this thunder ball of light, as the seed of spiritual recovery. Only those who have passed the Heavenly Tribulation Thunder tribulation can activate this seed, truly open up a new era, and let the spirit flow forever. Bottle, this is the truth about the revival of spirit. I couldn't help but growl, and my hands were shaking with excitement. It turns out that the inheritance I got is not just a martial art, but a key to unlocking the new element. If I could pass the trial, I would not only be able to ask the Dingli Peak, but also become the master of this chaotic world. Cayenne was also stunned and murmured, "Zihao, this is so awesome. Master Tianxian handed over the fate of the entire world to you." However, the picture says that trial is the last step. Those who fail will be swallowed by the thunderball and will never be reborn. Are you sure you want to try it? I gritted my teeth and looked calm. Try it. How can I know if I can do it if I don't try it? After the spirit has recovered, this world has been trapped. How many people are so stressed by the aristocratic families that I can't breathe? If I retreat, I will always be a little person. Cayenne, you help me to keep it. If there is anything wrong with it, run away, don't worry about me. Cayenne wanted to say something, but when she looked at me, she still pointed. Okay, I believe you. But I won't run away. It's really a problem. Let's carry it together. She took out the talisman and started to set up anti-aircraft methods around the palace to prepare for possible changes. I took a deep breath and walked to the thunderball. The power of the original thunder in my body formed a co-bearing bird with the ball of light. The thunder on the surface of the ball was frantically flashing. Then an old voice echoed, and it was Master Tianxian, the descendants of later generations. You have come here, and you will accept the final test. The thunder of heaven will temper your body and soul. Those who succeed will dominate the new element, those who fail will turn into ashes. Are you ready? Come on! I yelled, and my spirit exploded with all my strength. The power of the original thunder turned into a pillar of light, slamming the light ball. In an instant, the light ball burst out with dazzling light, and countless thunder rushed down like a sky, hitting my whole body. I gritted my teeth and held it hard. The power of thunder was fighting against the outside world in my body. Every blow seemed to tear me apart. My bones, my veins, and even my soul were shaking, and the pain was so that I almost wanted to kneel down. But I haven't retreated, and my brain has been full of past few days. From falling into the cave to repelling my ambitions, to revealing the truth about my spiritual recovery, I, Zihao, have gone from an ordinary person to the present. How can I fall to the last step? I roared angrily. The power of the original thunder was swept wildly, and the waves of thunder attacks were forced to catch up, and the internal strength became stronger and stronger in the tempering. Just as the trial was about to end, a fierce sound of footsteps suddenly came from the entrance of the palace, and then Ziyuan sneered, "Ha, Zihao, it's you. The root of the spirit recovery is indeed deep in this cave. Thank you for helping us open the way. Now, hand over everything." My heart sank. When I turned my head, I saw that Ziyuan was carrying at least 50 people into the palace. There were also a few terrifying veterans who were more powerful than the previous elder. His eyes were staring at the thunderball. Ziyuan let out a swing of his hand, and several subordinates rushed towards Kaishan. At the same time, he carried a few elites and rushed to me. The long sword was filled with cold light and full of killing. "Boy, you just spent all your energy in the trial, right? Now is your death date. Go ahead, kill him, kill the light ball." Cayenne shouted, "Zihao, be careful." She threw out several shattered talismans and reluctantly held the people who were coming, but there were many people on the other side, and her defense was quickly torn open, and she herself was forced to retreat. I gritted my teeth, and the trial was not completely over yet. There was no energy left in my body, but the power of the original thunder has evolved in the quenching just now, and there is no sign of breakthrough. Ziyuan, this time, picked up the steel at this time, and Shiming wanted to get the cheaper one. I sneered and stood up straight. The lightning condensed in my palm. "If you want to snatch my things, ask me if I answer first." As I finished speaking, I refused to retreat and turned in. The thunder broke into the sky and showed all my strength. The lightning sword shone towards the aspirations and the others like a violent wind. With a sound of, several elite swords in the front row were chopped off on the ground, and they all fell to the ground with a cry of yelling, and all the magic weapons were chopped down. Ziyuan's face changed. Unexpectedly, I was still able to fight. Long Jian hurriedly slammed, but he was still shocked several steps and bleeding from the corners of his mouth. Waste! How can these many people still not take an injured boy? An old guy roared angrily, took action, and used a fire dragon technique to directly push me into the face. I gritted my teeth and avoided it, but after trying, my body reacted slowly, and my shoulders were rubbed by the fire dragon, and it instantly turned black, making me so much pain that I took a cold breath. Ziyuan took the opportunity to sneer, "Zihao, you won't be able to hold it for long. Hand over the thunder ball, I will keep you all." He rushed up again, and the slash was as bright as a rainbow. With the attacks of several elites, I almost couldn't breathe. Kaiji was forced to the corner from the side, and the talisman was almost used, and the situation was critical. I felt a slight in my heart, and I simply ignored the wounds on my head, recalling the ultimate meaning of the secret book of ancient heavenly mysteries, Thunder Heavenly Violation. This is an ultimate move that is stronger than the Thunder World's killing. It can urge the power of heavenly thunder and act on behalf of heaven. Although I am not strong enough now, the Thunder Light Ball's trial has not ended yet. I may be able to take advantage of its power to try it. I used both hands to seal and roared, "I am far away. Today I will let you know what a heavenly punishment is." The last spirit in my body gathered, the power of the original thunder was scattered with the light ball, and suddenly there was a cloud of clouds above the palace, and countless thunders fell down, as if they were about to tear everything apart. I led this force out, and the lightning turned into a huge spear of heaven, urging them directly. Rumor. The spear of the sky fell to the ground, and a huge pit was blown out of the ground. Most of the elite troops beside the Xinyuan were killed in an instant. Even the few veterans were affected by lightning, and they vomited blood and flew away. Ziyuan himself was even hit by thunder, and the long sword broke. The whole person was swept 10 meters and hit the stone wall, dying, his eyes filled with shock. How could you still have this power?" I gasped heavily, my body was exhausted, my wounds were cracked, and my blood was flowing, and I was almost unable to stand firm. But I still sneered. "Ziyuan," I said, "it's not a good time to mess with me. Aren't you going to kill my things? Come on, get up and try again." Ziyuan's mouth twitched, and he couldn't even say anything. The remaining people were scared and scattered. How could he dare to move and retreat? Kaiyan took the opportunity to touch me, supported me, and said in a low voice, "Zihao, don't be stubborn. You are too hurt, so we have to withdraw first." But at this moment, the thunder ball suddenly burst out with a strong light, covering me and Kaijian. Master Qianshuan's voice sounded again, "When you try to pass, the origin of thunder and the power of the heavenly tribulation will be as close as possible. The source of spirit has been activated, and the new element will be created by you." The power of thunder and electricity in the light ball rushed into my body, and the wound was in a speed visible to the naked eye. The spirit recovered instantly, even stronger than before. I felt my whole body full of strength, and the power of thunder surrounds me. With a blow of my hand, my air was torn apart. I looked at Ziyuan with a cold look. "The first step of the new Yuan is to solve you." I raised my hand and the lightning was shattered like a flood. Ziyuan didn't even have time to scream, but he was swallowed by the lightning and turned into ashes. The remaining enemies saw this and were shocked to have their farts and urinate, and they crawled into the ground and escaped from the palace. I didn't chase, but the root of the spirit recovery was more important. I turned to look at the thunder ball of light, and my brain was filled with Master Qianshuan's words, "The new Yuan, created by me." At this moment, I, Zihao, is no longer a small person, but a legend of the younger generation. But I know that this is just the beginning. The truth about the resurrection of spirit is revealed, my name will definitely spread all over the world, and more powerful enemies will follow one after another. But I am not afraid, the power of thunder is in hand, and the heavenly tribulation has been tried, and I can't even fight anyone who comes. Kaiyan patted my shoulder and grinned, "Zihao, awesome. What should I do next? How to deal with this light ball?" I took a deep breath, and the lightning pounded in my palm, and my heart was full of unyielding ambition. The source of the spirit of the light ball has not been fully activated, and the world outside the cave has probably been turned upside down because of my attempt. I said in a low voice, "First stabilize the strength, then, we have to go out so that everyone knows that the new era of spiritual prosperity is Zihao." Deep in the palace, the thunder ball is still flashing, and the sound of the strange phenomena of the heaven and earth is everywhere. I clenched my fists and looked calm. No matter what was ahead, I had to step over. In this chaotic world, I not only have to stand at the top, but also let all enemies crawl under my feet. The thunder ball deep in the palace still radiated with dazzling light, and the air was as strong as water. Every breath made me feel like my bulge. Cayenne and I stood in front of the light ball, and the picture where Ziyuan killed was still sweeping in my brain. The power of thunder swept through my body, as if we were trying to break through some kind of shackle. I know that the root cause of the resurrection of spirit has not been fully activated. The last step of the Heavenly Tribulation Thunder trial is close to me, but my body has reached its limit. Although the wound is mostly full, the fluctuation of spirit is still unstable and may backfire at any time. Cayenne looked at me with a tight eyebrows. Zihao, you just took the heavenly defeat and used the thunder heavenly defeat to kill Ziyuan. The spirit inside must be in a mess. The light ball has not been finished yet. Now that I am hard, something may happen. Let's find a place to rest for a few days first and adjust the state before talking about it. I lowered my head and looked at the lightning pounding in my palm. Although there was a fire in my heart, I wish I could penetrate the light ball and complete the final test now, but reason told me that Cayenne was right. I gritted my teeth and pointed, okay, get hurt first and make your cultivation stable. Although Zihao is dead, his backer will not be good at ease. We have to seize the time so that we will not be stuck here by them. Cayenne looked around and pointed to the hidden stone chamber in the corner of the palace and said, there is a small space there, which is highly concentrated and has the protection of the remaining methods, which is suitable for hiding. You go and adjust the rest first. I will set up a few defense talismans outside. If anyone chases you, we can also have a safeguard. Without saying a word, I walked straight into the stone chamber, sat down with my legs, and closed my eyes to turn on the Tianxian thunder skills. The original power of the thunder slowly flows in the body, and the darkness left by the battle begins to be repaired, and the spirit is swept through waves, as if it is quenched by thunder and electricity over and over again. In the brain, Master Tianshuan's voice continued to sound, teaching me how to integrate the power of thunder and heavenly violence into its origin and turn it into a stronger power. I was immersed in it, and I didn't know how time passed, and the spirit fluctuations in my body gradually became stable, and even there was a sign of breakthrough. At the same time, Cayenne was busy and sweating profusely outside the stone room. He held his own talisman in his hand and kept carving anti-warming methods on the ground and walls. She muttered, Zihao, a guy like Zihao, always pushes himself into the end, which makes me shocked. However, the spirit of this cave is really not strong, and my magical skills seem to have improved a lot. When he becomes stable, we will not be afraid of anyone coming. After 3 days, my cultivation in the stone chamber finally broke through a great realm, and I went from the late stage of the foundation to the early stage of the golden pill. The spirit inside the body was like a river running, and the power of the original thunder evolved into a powerful force of the heavenly tribulation. With a swipe of his hand, the air was torn apart, and the sound of hissing thunder sound came out. I opened my eyes quietly and felt like I was sacking my fetus and changing my bones. My whole body looked like a snail with a sheath, and it was unpredictable. When I walked out of the stone chamber, Cayenne saw me, his eyes lit up. Boku, Zihao, you are so arrogant, you are not as simple as a human. Is it in the early stage of the golden elixir? This cultivation has been so fast. Don't say that Ziyuan helps people. I guess the old monsters of the aristocratic family dare not provoke you easily. I grinned and clenched my fists. This is just the beginning. The power of the origin of thunder merges with the power of heaven. I can easily level a mountain with one blow. But the trial has not ended. The activation of the source of spirit is the key. We have to seize the time and can't delay it anymore. When I was about to say something, my face suddenly changed, and I suddenly turned my head and looked towards the entrance of the palace, and said in a low voice, no, someone is here. My defense method was just touched, and there were a lot of energy. The energy fluctuations were so strong that they were far behind. It was probably because the force behind Ziyuan had come to the door. My heart sank, and the power of thunder instantly condensed, and he said coldly, "Good come, Zihao is dead. They dare to come and send their heads. It just happens to try my new breakthrough power. Kaishen, you guard the stone chamber, don't let them get close to the light ball, I'll meet them." As the voice fell, a heavy sound of footsteps came from the entrance of the palace. Then a team of people rushed in, with 70 or 80 people, wearing a uniform dark red robe, and a strong killing radiant body. The person in charge is an old man with white hair, his eyes are so fierce that he makes people breathless. He is probably planning to at least in the late stage of the golden elixir, he even touched the edge of baby Yuan. He was also accompanied by several middle-aged people, and his breath was not weak. It was obviously a family of immortal cultivation where he was determined, and it might even be the top force of the alliance. The old man swept the palace, his eyes locked on the thunder ball of light, and his voice opened his mouth, "It's indeed the source of spirit. Even the little kid can't handle this waste, and he even took his own life. But it's good, so we can save ourselves from opening the road. Boy, you're Zihao, right? I hand over the origin of the thunder and the ball of light, and my Tianyun sect may be able to save your life, otherwise today will be your death." I sneered, and the lightning was beating in my palm, and I was not afraid. Tianyun sect? It sounds so awesome. Unfortunately, in my eyes, you are no different from Ziyuan. They are all here to die. If you want to kill my things, ask me if my thunder will answer first. After saying that, I stepped down and the power of thunder exploded. The whole person was like a thunderbolt thunder, and the thunder cracked out directly, and the lightning sword ripped like a violent wind. Room. Wherever the sword light passed, the more than 10 subordinates in the front row had no time to react, and were directly chopped and fell to the ground with a cry of yelling, fuzzy flesh and blood. The old man's face changed, and he obviously didn't expect that I would be able to do this with the power of my move. He snorted angrily, raised his hand to sacrificially produce a huge black warrior, and the spirit turned into a black light, squeezing my sword light, and a crack was shaken out of the ground. "Humph, in the early stage of the golden pill, dare to be rampant in front of me?" The old man sneered, and with a halberd, several black lights rushed in like poisonous snakes, with speeds far away. I was not in a hurry, and the power of the thunder and heavenly desperation condensed. With both hands, the thunder rushed down from the sky above the palace, collided with the black light, making a deafening explosion sound, and forced all his attacks to be resolved. The whole scene was shocked, and the subordinates kept retreating, their eyes filled with shock. The old man's pupils shrank slightly, and he gritted his teeth and said, "The power of heaven? You have actually merged this power. It's hard for the long to die in your hands. However, with just these means, I want to challenge the Tianyun sect, and I'm delusional. Everyone, crush him." 70 or 80 people quickly scattered, forming a huge spiritual magic room. The spirits in the center of the magic gathered, turning into a 100-meter-long black dragon, roaring towards me, and the atmosphere was so terrifying that the stone walls of the palace were shaking. I felt nervous. The power of this technique is probably able to resist the early attack of Yuan Baby. These guys are indeed not simple. Cayenne shouted in the stone chamber, "Zihao, be careful, this is the black dragon devouring heavenly square of Tianyun sect, which is specially used to kill strong enemies. Don't fight hard, find a chance to break your eyes. My broken talisman can help you fight for time." As she said, she threw out a few talismans and turned into a light curtain and slapped in front of the giant dragon. Although it only delayed for a few seconds, it gave me a chance to breathe. I gritted my teeth and quickly recalled the content in the secret book of ancient heavenly mysteries. The advanced state of thunder heavenly violation, Thunder One Break, suddenly appeared. This move can condense the power of heavenly violation into a little, explode the destructive power that destroys the heavenly violation, and break through all methods. I sealed my hands, and the spirits in my body gathered wildly. The power of thunder turned into a dazzling spear of lightning, stabbing the black dragon's eyes hard. Rumor. The long spear of lightning collided with the giant dragon, and the magic made a harsh cracking sound. The black giant dragon blew a sad sound in the lightning, and then it exploded. The entire magic space instantly collapsed. 70 or 80 people were shocked to the point of recoil. Half of them vomited blood and fell to the ground. Even the old man was shrunk several steps back, his face blue. How is this possible? The old man stared at me, his voice full of disbelief. How could you, a kid in the early stage of the golden pill, break the black dragon devouring heavenly square? I gasped, and the lightning still surround myself, sneering, old guy, after the spirit has recovered, the times have changed. Tianyun sect is a fart. In my eyes, you are just a group of earthen chickens and tiled dogs. If you don't swell, you will all die here today. After saying that, I raised my hand again, and the thunder rays collapsed and condensed, and the long spear of the lightning pointed straight into the old man's chest. The old man's face changed drastically, and he finally showed a jealousy. He gritted his teeth and said, "Good boy, sharp teeth and sharp mouths. However, we are determined to win the source of spirit. Today, I will let you go first. When the sect leader comes out, it will be a long time to see if you can still get it. Retreat." He shook his hand and retreated with the remaining people and wolves, and even the seriously injured subordinates on the ground were ignored, obviously because they were afraid that I would take action again. Kai-yin ran over and patted his chest. "Bogkeo, Zihao, you just made that move. 70 or 80 people from Tianyun's sect were beaten away by you alone. If this matter is spread, it is estimated that the entire world of cultivation will be blown up." I grinned, feeling very happy, but I remained calm. Don't be too early to be happy. Tianyun's sect retreated, but the sect leader in their mouths is probably a tough guy. We are so nervous that we can complete the trial and activate the source of spirit, otherwise when they get back to the ground, they will be in trouble. With the head of the picking point, we returned to the Thunder Ball. I took a deep breath and prepared to welcome the final Heavenly Tribulation Thunder trial. But at this moment, a violent spiritual wave came from the entrance of the palace again, and then a familiar and evil voice sounded, "Zihao, do you think you're done killing me? The methods of the Tianyun sect are not something you can imagine." I suddenly turned around, my pupils shrank, and it turned out to be a long-lasting person. His body was covered in blood, his breath was weak, but his eyes were filled with resentment, which seemed to have survived with some secret method. There was a man in black robes standing beside him, his temper was so deep that I felt a sense of pressure. Ziyuan sneered, "This is the second elder of Tianyun sect. He has cultivated his life in the middle of the Yuan dynasty and will come to take your life. And the aid troops I just notified have blocked the exits of the cave. You can't escape today if you have wings." My heart sank. In the middle of the Yuan dynasty, this is not something that the veteran can compare to. Moreover, the exit of the cave was blocked, and if we fight hard, we have no way out. Kai-yin said in a low voice, "Zihao, his appearance is not good. This man in black robe is too strong, and he will beat us up very hard. I will first use the broken talisman to try to tear open the seal. You can hold them." I gritted my teeth and pointed my head. The thunder power exploded with all my strength. I stared at Ziyuan coldly. "Susie, my life is quite strong, I'm not dead. Okay, I'll send you to the road all the way today." As soon as I finished speaking, I stepped down, and the thunder shattered and the long spear of the thunder lightning struck Ziyuan. At the same time, my body was as strong as electricity, and I was forced to hold the pressure of the man in the black robe. I was ready to solve this poisonous snake of Ziyuan first. The man in black robe snorted coldly, and raised his hand and saw a dark palm print. The palm print was pressing like a mountain, and it forced my attack. The long spear of the lightning light was shaken and only hit Zhongji's long shoulders, which made him scream, half of his body charred, and he knelt down on the spot. The man in black robe said coldly, "Boy, dare to attack the people of Tianyun's sect and seek death. Today I will wipe out you and leave the source of spirit." I gritted my teeth and resisted the recoil of the palm print, and my body was covered in blood, but the power of the thunder and heavenly destruction exploded again. The sky thunder collided with the dark light of the man in the black robe, and cracks were blown out of the ground of the palace. but the other party's cultivation was too strong, and it forced my thunder and my palm print approached, which made me almost breathless. Kaiji shouted behind, "Zihao, hold on. The broken talisman is almost done, and the exit can tear a hole open." The talisman in her hand was shining brightly, and the cave's sealing method in the distance made a click sound, and it was obviously about to be broken. Ziyuan saw the situation and covered his shoulders and roared, "Second Elder, don't let them run away. Kill Zihao, ours is ours." The man in black robe sneered, and his spirit burst again, and the dark light palm print turned into countless black blades, thrusting towards me densely, as if he had to tear me apart. I felt a sudden blow in my heart, and I simply did not hide or avoid it. The power of the original thunder and the power of heaven and earth gathered together. The advanced form of Thunder World Shock appeared in my brain, Thunder Sky Shock. This is the ultimate move in the secret book. It can turn itself into the core of thunder, steer the power of heaven and earth, and explode all attacks. I roared angrily, "Xiqian, Tianyun sect, today I will let you all buried here." Rumor. The lightning around me was thunderous, turning into a huge thunder magic paradise. The thunder and electricity in the world gathered wildly, turning into countless thunder pillars, heading towards the black-robed man and the Ichio. The man in the black robe finally changed his face. The dark black blade was crushed by the thunder pillar. The whole person was shrunk for 10 meters and spit out a mouthful of blood, which seemed to be seriously injured. Ziyuan became even more depressed. The thunder pillar hit directly, half of his body was broken. He screamed and suddenly felt angry. Even the secret technique could not save him this time. The remaining 8 soldiers were scared to death, and they screamed and fled. The man in black robe gritted his teeth and stared at me resentfully, "Zihao, Tianyun sect has remembered you. Today's hatred will be reported today." After saying that, he turned into a black light, and the wolf fled, and even the far body ignored it. I gasped heavily, and my body was exhausted again. The backlash of the thunder sky made my eyes dark and I almost fell to my knees. Kaiyan rushed over to support me and said anxiously, "Zihao, it's awesome. You were beaten away by Baby Yuan in the middle of the year, and Ziyuan died at all. This wave of blood is so popular. The exit has broken, let's withdraw first, and wait for your recovery to tell me." I clicked my head and stood firmly. The lightning was beating slightly in my palm, and my heart was so happy. Ziyuan finally died, and the Tianyun sect was recreated by me. In this battle, my invincible posture was finally revealed. But I know that the trial has not ended yet, the activation of the source of spirit is near, and the report of the Tianyun sect will come with it. I turned to look at the thunder light ball, my eyes fixed. "Kaihua, the test can't be delayed anymore. The next time the Tianyun sect comes, it will definitely be the sect leader who comes out of his own. I must complete the Heavenly Tribulation Thunder test before they counterattack and control the source of spirit. Help me to protect the last period of time, no matter how many people come, I will become the master of the Xin Yuan." With many points of attention, let's take a look and prepare for the final challenge. In the sky above the palace, the light of the thunder ball became more and more dazzling, and the strange phenomena of the world far away were constantly shaking. I know that the last battle of this world is coming soon. The thunder ball deep in the palace radiated a dazzling light, and the spirit in the air was so heavy that it was almost dripping from water, and every inch of space was filled with a sense of pressure. I stood in front of the light ball, and the original power of the thunder in my body was with the light ball, as if an invisible force was urging me to complete this final thunder test of the Heavenly Tribulation. I just fought the life and death of the second elder of the Tianyun sect, and the Continental continued. Although it made me recreate and strong, it also made me exhausted my spirit and almost reached the limit. But I know that time does not wait for anyone, and the leader of Tianyun sect may come to kill himself at any time. If I don't seize this last opportunity and activate the source of spirit, the consequences will be unbelievable. Kaiyan stood beside me, his face full of worry, holding several broken talismans tightly in his hand, and said in a low voice, "Zihao, your injury has not been completely recovered, the risk of trying is too great." I turned to look at her and grinned. Although my body was still intimately in pain, a fire ignited in my eyes. Kaisheng, thank you, but I can't wait. The root of the resurrection of spirit is right in front of me. This is the opportunity God gave me, and it is also the only opportunity for me to change this world. The time when the Tianyun sect will not give me breathing. If you don't fight today, you will have to die tomorrow. Keep the outside, no matter how many people come, and help me fight for time, I will definitely be able to pass. Cayenne bit his lip, although he was unwilling to give up, but he still pointed, okay, I believe you. But remember, no matter what the test result is, I will not let you down. I arranged anti-aircraft methods outside. If you dare to come, I will fight with them. After speaking, she turned around and rushed towards the entrance of the palace, and began to carve complex rune methods around, with the spirit waves added, sealing the entrance tightly and impermeable. I took a deep breath and turned to look at the thunder ball of light. The power of the original thunder in my body flew wildly. The thunder light in my palm jumped. I took a step forward and the whole person was covered by the light of the ball of light. In an instant, a terrifying pressure came from all directions, as if the whole world was repelling me, and my bones were cracked and my body seemed to be torn apart, which made me almost kneel down. In the brain, Master Tianxuan's voice sounded again, old and low, finally try to open up. The thunder of heaven will temper your body and soul. Those who succeed will dominate the new primordials, those who fail will turn into ashes. Are you ready? Come on. I gritted my teeth and roared, and my spirit exploded with all my strength. The power of the original thunder turned into a pillar of light, slamming the core of the light ball. The next second, the light ball burst out with dazzling light, and the sky above the palace was densely filled with clouds. Countless thunders were like the sky. Each thunder contained the power to destroy the sky and the earth, hitting my whole body. I stood up, and the power of the thunder in my body was fighting against the thunder of heaven. Every strike seemed to tear me apart, blood and flesh, and my soul was trembling, which made me almost collapse. But I haven't retreated, and my brain has been full of past few days. From falling into the cave to repelling my ambitions, to revealing the truth about my spiritual recovery, I, Zihao, have gone from an ordinary person to the present. How can I fall to the last step? I don't accept it. I roared angrily. The power of the original thunder was swept wildly, and withstood waves of thunder attacks. The internal strength became stronger and stronger in the tempering, as if it was reshaped by thunder electricity over and over again. The trial became more and more intense. The thunder surrounding the thunder ball turned into 9 huge thunder dragons. Each thunder dragon was emitting a destructive breath and roared at me. I gritted my teeth, and sealed my hands. The power of thunder and heavenly destruction exploded. The sky thunder collided with Lei Long from the sky, making a deafening explosion sound, shattering the first Lei Long. But the remaining 8 thunder dragons were faster, and the lightning intersected into a network, which made me almost unable to move. In an instant, several charred scars appeared on my body, and blood flowed out. Zihao, hold on. Saiji shouted at the entrance of the palace, full of anxiety. Although she couldn't see the specific situation of the experiment, the power of thunder alone made her face pale, but she still gritted her teeth and kept her way and prepared for threats from outside at any time. I gasped heavily. My body was almost exhausted, but the unwilling affliction in my heart became stronger and stronger. I growled, and the ultimate meaning of the secret book of ancient heavenly mysteries appears in my brain, the advanced form of thunder heavenly vigil, thunder eternal tribulation. This is the ultimate move that transcends everything. It can transform itself into the origin of thunder, integrate it with the power of the heavenly tribulation, and explode power beyond the world. I sealed my hands, and the last spiritual energy in my body gathered. The lightning lights around me were magnificent, turning into a huge thunder magic weapon. The thunder and electricity in the world gathered wildly, turning into countless thunder pillars, and fighting head-on with the 8 thunder dragons. Rumbling. The giant lightning pillar collided with Lei Long, and a huge pit was blown out of the ground. 8 thunder dragons were mourning in the lightning, and they were shattered in succession, turning into countless thunder fragments, and reintegrating into the light ball. My whole person was shocked and flew out of 10 meters. I fell to the ground and spit out a mouthful of blood. The body almost broke, but the light of the thunder ball suddenly stopped, and Master Qianshuan's voice sounded, "Try to pass. The origin of thunder and the power of the heavenly tribulation can be as high as possible. The source of spirit has been opened, and the new yuan will be created by you." As the words came to an end, the power of lightning in the thunder ball rushed into my body. The wound was compatible with the speed visible to the naked eye, and the spirit recovered instantly, even more than 100 times stronger than before. The power of thunder in his body evolved into a real power of heavenly tribulation. With a swipe, the air was torn apart, and a hissing sound of thunder. I opened my eyes quietly and felt like I was dying from the body and changing my bones. My whole body looked like a thunder incarnation, and my every move could urge the power of heaven and earth. "It's done!" I growled, and my hands were shaking with excitement. The source of spirit was activated in full swing, and clouds dissipated over the palace, and a golden light shot out from the light ball, surging directly into the sky. The entire cave and even the entire world were shaking at this moment. The world is far away, and the spirit is surging like a flood, which is 100 times more sluggish than the beginning of the spiritual recovery. I know that this is the beginning of the new yuan, and I, Zihao, is the founder of this yuan. When Kaiyin came, his eyes almost glared out, and he shouted excitedly, "Zihao, you have passed it. This atmosphere is not human. The source of spirit has been activated, we have won it, and we have won it in the end." As soon as she fell, a violent explosion sound suddenly came from the entrance of the palace. The defense method was torn open, and then a familiar and evil voice sounded, "Zihao, do you think it's over to try it? The Tianyun sect's revenge must be reported today." I suddenly turned around, my pupils shrank, and it turned out to be a long-lasting person again. His body was covered in blood, half of his body was charred, and his breath was as weak as if he would quit at any time, but his eyes were filled with resentment, which seemed to be restraining his life again by some taboo secret technique. There were still several talented scholars from the Tianyun sect standing beside him. Although there were not many, his cultivation was not weak, which was obviously his last trump card. Ziyuan sneered and said with a voice, "Although the second eldest son was recreated by you, he left a follow-up note before leaving. I followed him all the way here to see you die. The source of spirit is mine, and the new yuan can only be created by me." I looked at him coldly, and a disdainful smile came out of the corner of my mouth. "Jifu, your life is so strong. You can get up after 2 deaths. But it's good, today I will give you your last journey, so that you can't breathe in full." As soon as I finished speaking, I stepped down, and the power of thunder exploded. The whole person was like a thunderbolt rushing towards Jifu. Thunder rays broke out and condensed, and the long spear of lightning pierced his chest. Ziyuan's face changed drastically. It was obvious that the power I had after trying to get so strong. He roared, and the spirit inside his body exploded violently, forcing the last primordial body to turn into a bloody air, colliding with my long spear of lightning. With the sound of, the bloody sword was crushed in an instant, and the long spear of lightning penetrated his chest without any obstacles. Zihao screamed, and the whole person was flying for 10 meters and hit the stone wall. His flesh and blood were blurred, and his breath was completely destroyed. There were several talented people from the Tianyun sect begging each other, and they were scared to death, and they didn't have the courage to resist. They knelt down and begged, "Mr. Zihao, give me life. We just acted with our lives and had no grudges against you. Please let us live a life." I snorted coldly. The lightning pounded in the palm of his hand. With a swipe, the power of thunder stormed like a flood, causing them to become severely damaged and unable to move. "Go back and tell the Tianyun sect that the ambition is dead, and the source of spirit is in my hands. Who dares to come and shake him again, I will fill his door." Several people crawled around and ran away, but even the long-distance body didn't dare to take it, obviously because they were afraid that I would take action again. Kaiyin ran over, patted my shoulder, and grinned, "Awesome, Zihao, the guy from Ziyuan finally got to a good end." The Tianyun sect probably has to calm down for a while. But with the activation of the source of spirit, the outside world must have been trapped. What should we do next? I turned to look at the thunderball. Although I had tried it, the source of spirit in the ball still emitted no light, as if I was still waiting for my last step. I closed my eyes and felt the voice of Master Tianqian in my brain. The source of spirit has been opened. You are the master of the new Yuan. When you use the power of thunder to purify the world, lead the lives of all beings, and move towards a bright future. As the words fell, a huge stream of information rushed into my brain, which was about how to control the source of spirit and purify the world. I opened my eyes quietly, and said to Kaiyan, the source of spirit is not only the source of power, but also the foundation of the world. The mission left by Master Tianqian is to allow me to use this power to purify the world, end the affair after the spiritual recovery, and lead everyone to a new era. Let's leave the cave first and bring this power out, so that everyone knows that the new Yuan is coming. Kaiyan's eyes lit up, and his head was as if he was snatching garlic. Okay, I'll hear you. But with this kind of enthusiasm, I guess it will become a legend as soon as you go out. Maybe there are more efforts to challenge. You have to be prepared. I grinned, and the power of thunder surrounds my body. Full of confidence, I will receive as much as I come. From today on, this world is Zihao. After speaking, I raised my hand and slapped it. The power of thunder turned into a pillar of light, shattering all the methods of sealing the cave, and the exit was unblocked. Kaiji and I looked at each other, strode out of the palace, and rolled the passage back to the ground. As soon as I stepped out of the cave, the outside was turned upside down. The golden light in the sky is thousands of feet high, and the spirit is like a flood, which is thousands of times more scattered than the beginning of the spiritual recovery. The mountains, rivers are shaking everywhere, as if the whole world is welcoming the arrival of the new Yuan. Around the wastelands in the suburbs, countless immortal practitioners and ordinary people have gathered together, looking at the strange phenomena in the sky, discussing the discussion. What is that golden light? Why did the spirit suddenly become like this? I heard that someone from the cave has passed the Heavenly Tribulation Thunder trial, and the source of spirit has been activated. The creator of the new primordial world is about to appear. I stood at the entrance of the cave, and the power of thunder surrounded me, and my air was like a rainbow, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Someone in the crowd was shocked. It's him. It's Zihao. He is the passerby of the test, the controller of the source of spirit. As soon as the words fell, countless people knelt down, their eyes filled with awe and worship. Even those cultivators dared not look at me directly, as if they were afraid of being crushed by my atmosphere. Kaiyan stood beside me, smiling so hard that he couldn't hold his mouth shut, and said in a low voice, Zihao, you are really a big shot like this. Look at this scene, who dares to mess with you? I didn't say anything. I raised my hand and swung it, and the power of thunder turned into a golden light, blending into the sky, and the power of the source of spirit instantly spread to the entire world, purifying every inch of land. Those monsters that were influenced by the resurrection of spirit fell down in sorrow, and the anger between heaven and earth was swept away, and the air was as fresh as if it had been reborn. A shocking cry broke out in the crowd, the new Yuan is here. Lord Zihao is thousands of years old. I looked down at all, and my heart was filled with mixed feelings. From an ordinary worker to now standing at the peak of the world, controlling the source of spirit and opening up the innovation of the world, I have walked too hard, but it is too worth it. Zihao died, Tianyun sect was recreated, my enemy fell down, and all that was left was an unsatisfactory future. A few days later, Saichi and I returned to the city, and everything around us changed. The purification of the source of spirit brings the world back to order, and the cultivator is no longer a high-ranking existence, but a force to protect all living beings. We established the Thunder Alliance, and based on the power of thunder, we summoned all immortal cultivators to jointly maintain the peace of the new Yuan. Kaiyan became my right-hand man, and with her talent for military skills, he helped me create a defense camp to ensure that the source of spirit will never be invaded by external enemies. The Tianyun sect finally chose to surrender. Their sect leader came to see me, lowered his head and gave me all the resources, just asking me to give them away. I sneered and didn't pursue it anymore. After all, the new Yuan needed a group, not an endless battle. But I warned them that if they dare to be a little bit unstoppable, the power of thunder will be the first to surrender to their top. Time flies, and after half a year, the new Yuan has finally settled. A world of abundant spirit allows everyone to cultivate their spirits, and ordinary people can also become powerful through hard work. Cultivating immortality is no longer a special right for a few people. My name spread all over the world and became a legend of the younger generation. When everyone mentioned Zihao, they would think of the man who turned from a small person to the dominant world. That night, I stood at the highest point of the Thunder League, overlooking the city with bright lights, and the power of the thunder beating slightly in my palm. Cayenne walked over and gave me a bottle of water, and said with a smile, "Zihao, who could have thought that you could have reached this point today? You have made the world of spirit and resurrection just right. Now everyone is calling you the savior of Xinyuan." I took the water, took a sip, and smiled and snatched my head. The savior is not the savior. I only know that this world is not so chaotic, and ordinary people can live a good life, so that's all. Picking, we have to continue working hard next. The power of the source of spirit has not yet been completely extinguished. Maybe there are more secrets waiting for us to dig. Cayenne's eyes lit up and he said, "Okay, I'll hear you. No matter what is ahead, we'll be together, and no one is afraid of coming." I looked at the moonlight beside the sky, and a stream of blood ignited in my heart. The era of spiritual recovery was created by me and will be long in the future. No matter what challenges there are, I can take it. The power of thunder will never be extinguished, and this new element will be shining forever.